The second series to do with the Lost Boys franchise is simply titled The Lost Boys, issues 1 through 6 from Vertigo Comics in 2016. This series functions as a completely separate sequel to the first film. It starts off shortly after the first film ends, where the Emerson family has done its best to move on. Michael now works at a nursing home and is still dating Star, who herself is still taking care of little Laddie. The Frog Brothers are back working at the comic shop, but in their free time, they train with the Emersons' grandpa, who it turns out is a part of an old folks vampire hunting group. One day, a group of female vampires with ties to Star and calling themselves the Bloodbells roll into town and start to ruin the Emersons' lives all over again. It turns out David, the head young vampire from the first film, also survived in this story and is now helping the Bloodbells in order to get his revenge. Eventually, there's a confrontation between David and his new allies. And the vampire killing team of the Emersons and the Frog Brothers. Who comes out on top? And what happens when the characters find out there are even more foes lined up than they originally thought? The last two comics associated with the Lost Boys franchise are simply two replica comics that a company decided to make based on the comic pages that they saw in the original film. The two issues, titled Vampires Everywhere and Destroy All Vampires, are replicas of the two issues that the Frog Brothers show Sam when he goes into the comic book store and meets them for the first time in the film. These issues are 16 pages, and they replicate all the pages shown in the film, plus some extra ones in order to fill out the story. The books came with both regular versions and 3D deluxe versions, so you can get copies that look exactly like the ones in the film, or you can get a 3D version that actually has all those 16 pages, plus those 16 pages again in 3D in these deluxe. So that's it. That is all the comics associated with the Lost Boys franchise. I enjoyed these stories, especially because it's just essentially two different sequels to the same movie that we all know and love. Plus, I really enjoy having those replica comics, especially the 3D versions of it. So I think they're definitely worth having. Thank you guys very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it, and stay tuned for more horror icons and comic coverage coming very soon.